Woohoo! Chingan! Okun! Wow! This is such an unusual setup.
Today we're in Battambang, northwestern Cambodia, and we're here to get to the heart of the food culture.
We have got a ton of delicious food lined up to share with you.
Cambodia is a country with a rich food culture, where influences from India, China and its Southeast Asian neighbours can be found in a cuisine which is unique and exciting to discover. This is our second video from Cambodia, and we're in Battambang, a province famous for its delicious food and produce. We eat a quintessential Cambodian breakfast from an out-of-bounds street stall, where your food has to be passed over a fence, and take you into the heart of a traditional wet market where we snack on Cambodia's tasty street food. We eat coconut rice flour pancakes, which are deep fried to perfection and one of the nation's favourite snacks of sour fruits. In this Cambodia series, we'll take you into the heart of the country's cuisine, from off-the-beaten-path street food to traditional Cambodian recipes. You don't want to miss this series. Get ready for some mouth-watering food.
I'm Thomas.
And I'm Sheena, and we're chasing a plate.
We hope you're hungry. Let's eat.
Battambang is famous for its food culture, as well as being the heart of Cambodia's art and cultural scene. This region is really rich in agriculture, and so there are a number of really special dishes and unique foods to find here. In the research leading up to this series, and particularly with filming in Battambang, I got so excited because there are a ton of markets to discover here. There's loads of street food. We can't wait to show you what we find.
Our first street food is a quintessential Cambodian breakfast. Pork on rice, so it sounds very simple, but this is very classic here and a delicious dish. But what's not simple is where we're gonna eat it. So check this out. You can see all the tables lined up. These are all for different stands. But as you might notice, there's a fence between the tables and where the food's being cooked. That's because in this big building here is a school. So actually all the cooking happens in the school grounds, and they pass all the food through the fence to their diners, which I reckon is a really cool setup. So let's go get some pork and rice for breakfast.
Bye, sach chrouk.
Sach chrouk.
Sach chrouk. Okay, moi. Yeah. Okun. Wow, Chingan. Woohoo! Chingan. Okun. Wow, this is such an unusual setup. So as Thomas was mentioning before, the vendors are all inside the school. The kids have actually gone back to class now, but before we started filming this piece, all the kids were actually eating on that side of the fence, so inside school. You can't, the public can't get into the school obviously, so they have to sit on public property on the street outside, and the vendors pass the food through the fence. It's such a neat setup. This looks like my kind of dish. It's called in Khmer bai sach chrouk, so grilled sticky pork. So there's the pork on top, served with rice, and it comes with a ton of different ingredients. So we've got the rice, we've got the pork, and then we've got this fried egg. Check out that yolk there. It's pretty much the perfect fried egg. We've got some cucumber, and I think there on the side is pickled mustard greens. She also drizzled a sauce over the top. I'm not really sure what it was, but there's also a ton of customization options on the table. So there's dried chili, there's fresh pounded chili, there's some chili sauce, there's I think a fish sauce chili mixture, and then a garlic sauce here. So you can customize your bowl or plate of food as to how you want it to taste. The atmosphere is just top notch. So we're sitting right outside the school. I can see the kids in the classroom. The vendors are yelling out to passing scooters and motorists, and they're whipping in and getting takeaway. And we're right opposite the Wats, or the Buddhist pagodas. This just looks like the best way to start your day. So I think what I'm gonna do is just not customize, but just get into the original dish first and see how we go. So I've got tons of that yolky rice there, and then some of the pork, a few spring onions on the top as well. That is amazing. I can see why people like to start their day with this dish. So the pork is really thinly sliced. It's very sticky, and what they've done is cooked it over the grill and basted it with a marinade. So it's very sticky, it's sort of a little bit chewy, but also tender. That egg, the yolk, oh my gosh, it just burst with gooiness in my mouth. All right, I want to get another mouthful with these pickled mustard greens because I think they'll really cut through the richness of the pork. All right. They do. They're perfect. They're very tangy, very crispy, and the sauce that she drizzled over the top of the rice is quite sweet. This is such an amazing dish. And again, just the environment. It's not something that we've ever come across before in our travels. There's something like 10 vendors lined up all along the side of the school. And I suppose at lunchtime the kids will come out and get a feed of pork on rice. I might slosh some of this garlic and I think it might be, fish sauce mixture over the top. And I might add a bit of chili too. So I'm gonna go for this fresh pounded chili. Give it a bit of a kick. All right, let's go for another mouthful. That egg again. Some of the pickled mustard greens, rice and pork. Oh yeah. Ooh. Adding that chili was fantastic. It's a little bit spicy, it's not too crazy, it doesn't burn your mouth off. And that garlicky fish sauce, it's just another level of flavour. There's just so much to take in here. Thomas just pointed out the spiky fence. What they've done is actually just put a wooden pole across the spike so that when they're passing the food over the fence, they're not spiking themselves. And when they need to clean these tables, what they do is that they push a pole through the gap in the fence and clean it with a rag stuck on the end of the pole and clean it that way. That's just such a great atmosphere.
We've come to one of the many local markets here in Battambang, and this is really to the heart of the street food. There is a ton of street food here, in amongst all the fruit and veg and the meat and the fish. It's a crazy market with so much going on, and there's definitely a bunch of things here that we want to show you. So let's go get these street foods.
The markets in Cambodia are so colourful and such a hive of activity. We're just wandering through all the different stalls now. There's fresh fruit and veg, there's fresh meat. It all just smells really beautiful. And right over ahead is our first food that we want to show you from this market. It's called Chh Jo, which is a coconut, rice flour and tapioca flour pancake. It looks really good. So today, next up the Chh Jo? Chh Jo. I think I pronounced it correctly. Chh Jo. B. Okay. Her setup's pretty basic. So she's just crouching down in the corner. She's got her bucket of batter, which is quite a runny batter, and then she's got her wok, which is filled with hot oil, and she pours a cupful of the batter into the hot oil, and it bubbles away, crisps up. It's in there for a couple of minutes, and then she whisks it out.
We've grabbed our Chh Jo from that amazing stand there, and look at it, like right amongst all the action of the market. Got a bunch of pork being sold here, some chickens over there, fruit and vegetables, and she's sitting on a tiny little stool about that high off the ground, cooking these up, and she's doing a roaring trade. People are just constantly going in and grabbing these, and that's because they look like a fantastic snack. So very basic. You saw that very thin batter that was being poured in there when Sheena was at the stand, and it's just made this sort of little pancakey thing. But look how crisp it is on the end. So the batter is very, very basic. Rice flour, tapioca flour, and then coconut milk as the liquid. So super simple. Let's rip on in. Should be, and you can see here actually a big fluffy bit in the middle, so it should be super crispy on the outside, but I'm going to rip right through to the middle. Oh, look at that. Oh, nicely aerated in the middle there. Rip it into, oh. it's really sticky, which I like. So that outside, where it's super golden, it has got a great crunch, but it actually turns sticky very quickly. So it's got a beautiful texture as you eat it. The coconut milk flavor is very strong, so lovely burst of coconut milk. And so this is a sweet treat, but it's not very sweet at all. It's just got a very little underlying hint of sweetness. Oh, actually that's coming on a little bit more now. So as I've swallowed it, the sweetness is sort of coming out of it. So it is quite sweet actually. I can feel it in my throat, but it's not crazy. You don't bite into it and feel that sweetness. So it took a while for that to come about. It's a really good snack, and just the environment. I mean, it's crazy. Look down here. These chickens just hanging out here. We've got some cut up, looks like probably catfish there. Everything about this market is great, and we've got a bunch more to eat here. So let's make our way through the market and find you some more food. The outside of the market's pretty frenetic, but the inside's actually quite peaceful, and it's quite a big area, and there's some really neat stuff in here. So fermented sausages, so lots of sausages hanging out. It's mainly meat inside, it looks like. This is a great market to explore. So we're just cutting through the market to go to our next street food, but oh, there's so much to look at in here. All the fruit on the ground. I love this sort of place in Southeast Asia.
Cambodians love bitter, pungent and sour flavors, and our next street food is all about sourness, so mouth-puckeringly sour flavors. And it's this which is right behind me, so sour fruits. Cambodians love sour fruits, and this lady, today, this lady has got an array of sour fruits lined up, so they're in big metal pans, and they're just resting on a few plastic buckets. I can see guava, there's mango, there's tamarind, all sorts. So let's order some. Next sach bài đấy. Sach bài. Can I have some mango, guava, tamarind, maybe some June plum? Oh, good. Wow. Oh, good. So just chucking on a bit of, oh yes please. Oh, good. Got some chili. That's going to go over the fruit. Perfect. Okun tadam. Whoa. I've got a huge bag, so $1's worth of sour fruits. These are going to be great. His stall is just insanely colourful. Greens and reds and browns and yellows. It just makes you want to, it just makes you want to eat everything. And this whole market is just awash with colours. There's a colourful fruit stall. There's a beautiful flower shop here. It's just a real feast for the senses. This place is so invigorating. Oh, please walk through. It's so invigorating to explore. Now, I've got to get into this bag of sour fruits. So, what's in here? There's green mango, there's tamarind, there's guava, there's I think baby June plums, and then she's given me a little bag of dipping chili and salt in there. So green chilies and red chilies. So what you do is, oh, nearly lost my fruits. So you grab a fruit and then you just dip it in the chili salt mixture. Now this mango has already got a ton of that on there, so I might just pop it straight in my gob. Whoa. Woo. Okay. Sour, spicy, salty. It's intense. So that was the green mango. It's picked very young, and so it's very sour. Almost has a chalky flavor. Oh, that's really good. Okay, what else can I find? I want to give this tamarind a go because I've never eaten it whole before. All right. Ooh, quite chalky, and it's relatively soft. So the inside is soft. There's a tiny bit of crunch on the outside, spicy from the chili on top there, and quite bitter once you start biting into it. Bitter, chalky, sour, spicy. It's midday, but the market's already starting to pack up, and I can just see up ahead a snack that we really want to eat. So let's see if we can still grab it in time. Saturday. Wow. Beautiful. We made it just in time to catch this lady who's selling jackfruit amok, which is jackfruit steamed jackfruit steamed in coconut milk. I'm so glad we get to sample this. Let's go, Nick.
I've whipped this jackfruit amok out of the bag, and I'm a little bit concerned that we don't actually have jackfruit amok here. There's a few giveaway signs. I don't think it is what we ordered. So I think a language barrier issue has happened here. So you can see that it looks sort of cake-like. I'll just peel into it and see what's actually going on here. So it's got a sort of a coconut milk batter on top. Yeah, this is not what we expected. Oh, so it's like a cake. I think it might be a jackfruit product. I'll eat it and see what it is. It's jackfruit in a type of sort of a muffin batter with a lovely sort of sticky coconut milk icing. It's nice, it's not amazing, it's a little bit dry. It's definitely not entirely what we wanted to show you. This sometimes happens. Language barrier means you don't quite get what you want sometimes. So this topping, this coconut milk topping, so this steamed milk topping on top, that is essentially what we expected. We expected almost a batter of that with pieces of jackfruit in it. So jackfruit's a really lovely fruit that you find here in Southeast Asia. Big green fruit, they cut it open and there's these nice yellow pieces inside. But obviously that's not what we've ended up with. But amok is arguably, or is really, the national dish of Cambodia, normally served with fish. So the jackfruit version was going to be very interesting. So we're going to have to get back to this market and try and have it while we're here in Battambang. But so it's sort of that says what we should have had, but it should have been all of that white stuff on top with big pieces of jackfruit in it and steamed in banana leaf, just like this little muffin has been. So a nice little snack, but definitely not quite what we were after.